From the last episode, we saw that Akira Tendo was an overworked employee for 3 years. He had always wished for something drastic to happen so that he'd never have to work again. And now he got his wish, but at the expense of humanity's extinction. He dreams about his supervisor, Mr. Kasugi, who jeers at him for being sick. A fever of 100 degrees Celsius is not a justification to stop working. Is Tendo going to die from too much work? If yes, then that should be the only time he comes to Kasugi. No one should leave until all work is done. No one, whether you're sick or well, is allowed to doze off. He should get up and get back to work. Tendo wakes up from this nightmare. Even in his dreams, he is still overworked. He looks around his filthy apartment to get his bearings. Then he remembers what had happened yesterday. The zombie epidemic has started, and most people everywhere are getting infected. This means he doesn't have to go to work anymore. He doesn't have to see Kasugi and get shouted at. With new vigor, he greets everyone, zombie or human, with a good morning. He's probably the only one in that apartment building who feels cheerful amidst the bleak and deadly situation. And who wouldn't if it meant not going back to that hellhole of an office? Tendo decides to clean 3 years' worth of filth in his apartment. He simply throws his trash bags outside where they will hit the zombies, knowing that no one would really care. He wipes dirt from everything. After a few hours of cleaning, his apartment is now as good as new. This good behaviour definitely deserves a treat. And what can be a better treat than having a beer in the morning? Its refreshing taste is what he needs to fulfill his guilty pleasure. A symbol of freedom from work and obligation. He can be content sitting inside and drinking the booze to his heart's content. His tiny apartment is a haven from the zombie apocalypse outside. Truly it is, because Tendo sees the live news being broadcasted on the television. The reporter is in distress as she shows aerial footage of Tokyo. Fires are erupting everywhere and zombies are running amok. It's hard to believe that only 1 day has passed since this epidemic started, and the destruction it caused in the capital is immeasurable. Even the studio where the reporter is located is not safe, seeing as their co-workers have become part of the living dead as well. The broadcast ends when finally an infected human gets to the poor reporter. Tendo realizes that the world is suffering from a zombie epidemic. He does feel uncertain about the future, but for now he's going to spend the whole day being lazy in his apartment. As long as he has cold beer in his hands, he can afford to do nothing all day. When he checks his refrigerator, he's shocked to find he has consumed all of his beer. He gets torn between staying safe inside and going out for a beer run amidst the zombies. In the end, the beer wins. Tendo rappels down the pipe at the side of the building. Because of this, he scares Mr. Kosaka, who is on his balcony and passionately screaming about his hopelessness in this situation. Kosaka's wife also comes out and screams upon seeing Tendo. Kosaka offers him a hand and invites him inside their apartment. But to his amazement, Tendo declines the offer. He introduces himself as Akira Tendo and explains that he's climbing down this way because the stairs are full of zombies. He is about to go to the convenience store and buy some things, so if there's anything they need, he'll gladly buy them as well. Kosaka is dumbfounded by this, more so by the cheerful way that Tendo introduces himself. He expresses his gratitude for this act of kindness in these trying times, and his wife asks for 2-ply tissues. With that, Tendo goes on his way. He rides his bike enthusiastically while a horde of zombies runs after him. He doesn't want to spend another second without his beloved beverage. Upon arriving at the convenience store, he chants happily, as if there's no zombie epidemic going on. He doesn't even consider the chance that there may be survivors other than him and Mr. Kosaka. He enters the store, unaware of another bike with an attached camera on it, recording his skipping. That's why he gets surprised when he sees another human being inside the store, drinking water. She's wearing sports apparel and seems to be sweating, even though her pretty face looks calm and relaxed. Tendo sees that she's also there getting some supplies. As she checks her phone, Tendo feels awkward, especially after realizing that he's chanting some stupid song about beers. He makes small talk with the girl, but she simply ignores him. After filling his basket with the beverage and other necessities, he walks up to the girl. Since she's another survivor, he thinks that it would be better to exchange contact information so that they can check on each other and get or provide help when needed. The girl checks her phone again before finally talking to him. She looks at his basket full of beer cans and says that she can't possibly team up with someone willing to risk getting bitten just to get non-essentials. She wants to survive for as long as possible, so having communication with someone who can't analyze the risk is not part of her plan. She refuses to give her number. But Tendo is more concerned about the zombies that are about to invade the front door of the store. In a few seconds, the undead enter the premises, getting ready to devour them. In a moment's rush, Tendo puts himself between the girl and the zombies. But to his surprise, the girl pulls his hood and slams him onto the floor, away from the door and zombies. Good thing that she did, because a truck appears out of nowhere and crashes through the store right where he stood seconds before. Instead, the zombies are crushed. The girl gets up and leaves him, riding the bicycle with the camera. Tendo tries to thank her, but he becomes more concerned about his own bike. He has nothing to ride home with. As he looks around, he sees a motorcycle with the keys still in it. Without hesitation, he takes it to go back home. Then he realizes that the epidemic started during rush hour, which means that most people were either bitten or left everything to run for their lives. Just then, he sees a better and cooler motorcycle by the road. Well, as they say, finders keepers. Tendo takes the black motorcycle and takes his time enjoying the ride of his life. Of course, the zombies can't catch up to him. When he arrives at his apartment, he parks the motorcycle nearby and climbs up the same pipe. As he reaches the balcony of Mr. Kosaka, he calls out to him to say he has the goods. But when he looks closely at the balcony doors, the glass panels are broken and full of splattered blood. Tendo is speechless as he fully grasps the implication of what he's seeing. That night, he watches the news while drinking beer. But there's no more pleasure in doing nothing for the day and consuming cold beverages. He keeps thinking about Mr. Kosaka and his wife, and their probable last moments. He brings out the notebook he bought the day before. At the time he bought this, he was so excited to enumerate the things he wanted to do before becoming a zombie. But after briefly meeting other survivors, it just dawns on him how serious the situation is. He can die later or after 60 years. Either way, there's not enough time to do all the things he wants. So he wants to make sure the time between now and his death will not be wasted. His philosophy is still the same. Do as many things as he wants to do before his life is over. At first, he writes down 30 things he wants to do, like experiencing fine dining, riding an RV, and so on. He also crosses out the first 5 things on the list, seeing that he's already done them. When he thinks further, he remembers his parents. He sees a flash of what they could be at that very moment. But he can't let himself think that way, not until he's seen for himself that they are still safe. He writes down, "Go home and spend time with my parents," as the 31st on the list, followed by "spend time with my buddy," and the 33rd, "meet the woman of my dreams." For now, 33 items are on his bucket list of things to do before becoming a zombie. He can add more later. Now that we know Akira Tendo's perspective on what he wants to do during the zombie epidemic, let's see another point of view from another survivor, the girl he met at the convenience store. Her name is not mentioned, but we know her as Shizuka Mikazuki. Perhaps she'll meet Tendo again, and then we'll get to know her through his perspective. For now, we see that she has a daily routine. Wake up at 6 a.m, run for 10 kilometers on the treadmill while listening for updates, and take her daily supplements. She also tries to contact her co-workers at the Los Angeles main office before writing her own list on Excel. Things like secure water and food, procure batteries, and maintain mental health are typed onto the screen, implying that the girl is pragmatic and practical. She takes her time to watch zombie movies to learn more about the enemies. Then, she observes the undead from her window to verify her theories. So far, she has observed 3 types of zombies: the walking, the running, and the dangerous. She believes that identifying the zombie type can increase the chances of survival. Then she decides to go to the convenience store to procure supplies. That's when she meets our protagonist. Her first impression of him is that he's a happy-go-lucky guy who doesn't think past the present moment. It surprises her how someone like him can survive this epidemic for so long. Then she sees the approaching truck through the camera on her phone. The way the truck swerves from side to side tells her that the driver is already infected. She also sees the zombies outside that are about to enter the store. She is thinking of ways to distract them to save the man. But to her surprise, he jumps in front of her as if protecting her and right into the spot where the truck will crash. With no choice, she pulls back the hood of the man's jacket, saving him from an untimely death. Then, without leaving her contact information with him, she leaves the premises. She is sure there are no more zombies around at that time, which can give the man enough time to escape, if he's lucky enough. When she gets home, she reviews the footage from her camera. Through the recorded videos, she sees the man cheerfully skipping before entering the store. Who would think that a beverage can make someone blissful in this state of emergency? This makes her think that perhaps it's not that bad to be lenient towards her own wants. Maybe she should have gotten that Sakura mochi after all. But there's no time to look back. She must finish her list of 100 things to do to avoid becoming a zombie. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.